Hi everybody, this is Lynn from Creative Concept Crafts with the latest release, and it's the Noah's Ark and the collection of animals. We have quite a few in there. We have a monkey, we have a rhino, an elephant, giraffe, a lion, did I say the elephant? And a dove. So there's quite a few. There's the dove. I knew there was something missing. I haven't actually attached any of these animals yet, but I will be showing you how to create as we go. So what do we need for the project? For the boat itself, there are the 2 boat-shaped pieces and there's 8 pieces of the mat. This is the house part, and there's the base of the boat, plus the roof and its mats, and the other 3 curved pieces that you can see are the mat for the houseboat. So that's one of the pieces that I've actually gone round the edge on the scoreboard, as I always do with anything that's got a straight line on it, and I've done the same on all the mats and layers as well. So wherever there's a straight line, I've run it down on the right hand side of the hunky-dory scoreboard, so I get a nice beveled edge to be able to line everything up well. So the best way to start this project is with the boat shaped pieces. One of them has got the opening, and I've already attached the top and the bottom pieces. So there's a mat round the edge, but there is no mat butting up to the door. So I'm going to start by adding those pieces. When you take them off, try and keep them in the same order because they're all slightly different lengths. But if you find that one doesn't fit, then it's probably in the wrong order. You can take these pieces off on transfer tape. The reason I didn't with these is because I've used photographic cardstock. The cardstock I've used, I'm going to be adding the link. It's a free download from Chantalia Designs, and I will put the link in the PDF for anybody who purchases. There's quite a few different colours. This one I think is brown with green. Can't remember the exact name, but the link will be in the PDF, as I said. So I'm just leaving a tiny gap between each of these layers, so you can see the brown of the boat coming through as if it was like wooden slats. So I sort of glue them and then just pop them into position and then even out the spacing and then push them down and burnish once I'm happy that I've got an even space. So the little ramp drops down on the boat front. Now this video, I tried to save it. It should be on the left hand side as you look at the boat, and it's coming up on the video as being on the right side. After 3 hours of trying to save it reverse because it's quite a long video, I finally gave up. So excuse me if you end up with the door will be on the left hand side as you look at it, not the right as it's coming up in the video. So again, I'm just popping it into position but not pushing down until I get the other piece in line. I've done the top and the bottom, and I've got the beveled edge to line up with for those 2, and then just even space between. Like I said, if you wanted to try and put this onto transfer tape, I use photographic card, and I wasn't sure whether it would actually lift off the gloss of the photographic card, which is why I didn't do it. But if you didn't use photographic card, then you should be fine to pull it off, and then it keeps all those pieces in exactly the place they need to be. So this is the next piece that we need, which is your boat base. It's got lots of little teeth, different shaped teeth from one end to the other as well, where they need to be for the shaping coming up the sides from the straight piece at the base. So what I've done, you need to shape the piece first by pulling it over the edge of a table, pulling down with one hand and allowing it to slide through the top part of my hand so that you get in like a U shape-ish piece. And then push in. I've pre-scored the fold lines, and then we need to glue all the pieces up to that score line. If you've got a quick grab glue, I would use it, because where anything where curves are concerned, you need to hold an ordinary glue for a couple of minutes before it will actually start to bite. So this takes me a couple of minutes just to get round the curve part, and then once you get to the base you can go quite a long way across, and then you've got the curve on the other end. But there's actual little cuts in the tabs to make it easier to fold up. It's just perseverance. Anything with curves is not difficult to do, but they're just a little bit tricky. Just a little bit of patience and you'll get there. So once you get beyond that curve, then it's straight for more than half of the length till you come to the curve on the other end, and then again just take your time getting everything into position. I'm going to burnish down the first curve and the base before I try to add the tabs for the other curve. So I've got one part of it firmly in place. So I'm just pinching it between my finger underneath and pushing along the top. Like I said, it takes a couple of minutes just to get all that into position. And once you're happy, make sure you get all those tabs well burnished down inside. So that's the first half of your boat completed. And now we'll repeat exactly the same thing on the other side. I'm just speeding the video up here because I'm doing exactly the same thing as I've just done. So again, going up to the flat part, burnish that down and then do the last few tabs. And then there's the base of the boat completed. Okay. So I've labelled the mats, I think, the boat base. This is a piece that I've designed to attach the animals onto. I didn't want them dropping down into the bottom of the boat, so I've done like a little stepper. It's a three-way stepper with a tab on either end to attach to the front of the boat. That's the bit with the curve at the front. You can either add this now, or alternatively you can add it after you've completed the house. I've done it both ways. I did it the house way the first time and then I added this piece, and in the video I've done this piece first and then the house. I think possibly it's easier to do the house piece first, get that into position, and then you can get it, this one a little bit easier because you can squeeze it down where you can't with the house. Okay, so maybe do this piece after you've created the house piece. So I've just lined up the tab to the edge of the boat there and burnished down on both sides. And now we're ready to create the house. So we've got fold lines, plus there's 2 score lines on the bottom. Put those in, but don't fold them. They're just placement lines for attaching it to the boat. The other lines, yes, burnish down. And now we're coming into the pieces to decorate. The smallest piece goes to the top, so that's away from that bottom tab. There's the piece with the holes in and then the bottom piece. So I'm going to start with the central one with the portholes. When you're gluing these, because I've done them all in one piece, glue up to the fold line, but don't glue over it. If you glue over it, you'll find that you'll get it, it won't line up properly, and you'll get some funny shapes. So glue up to, but not over the fold line, and you'll be fine. Starting, you'll find that one end is a long piece and one end's a narrow piece. So I'm starting with the widest piece, and those portholes will more or less line up over the holes. So I've got the first one in position, and I'm going to bend the fold line to get the next piece into position. You'll notice I'm not pushing down on that fold line itself. So just concentrate on lining up the portholes, but don't actually fold. Don't put any pressure on the fold line itself. Okay, so that's the first one in position. I'm just going to turn it over now and just burnish that down. Again, notice I'm not pressing down on the fold lines, and don't try and flatten it down completely either. Just allow that bend to stay. Now I'm going to add the narrow piece at the top. Again, up to but not over the score line. And again, looking for an even spacing between the top and the porthole piece. Again, don't put pressure on the fold line. So as long as you fold before you try and sort of burnish down the next little piece, you're fine. Notice I'm stopping as I'm burnishing down each of those pieces. Make sure they still all bend, and it'll work perfectly. Again, I'm adding glue now to the final piece. Now there are also circular pieces to go over the portholes. I've used rainbow mirror. I haven't added them at this point, I've added them later. You could add them at this point. So there's 6 little pieces to go over the portholes. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. I'm not going to complete it at the minute, and I'm just going to work with the roof. So I've already added 3 of the mats. I've just the one to add. And like I said earlier, I've gone round all these pieces, all the mats on the scoreboard, and I've pre-scored all the score lines as well. I haven't creased them on this one, but I have pre-scored them. So I'm just going to flip the last piece over and burnish into position. And now they are very, very fine attachments between one piece and the other. If it breaks off, don't worry. It shouldn't do, but if it does, don't worry, it's easily attached, and you'll see in a minute. So I'm dealing with all the side tabs first, just taking them one at a time, and fold one piece over so that the points, the tips of the points, match up. So make sure it matches up, press into place, and then just flip over when you're happy it's there, and burnish well down. So we're repeating the same thing now, another twice, and it's flattish at that point, but once you come to this piece, obviously this is going to be coming up into a peak. So you'll have to lift it up and over to get that last tab in. Make sure again that it's lining up at the tip and come back towards the base, the widest point. And once you're happy, just again flip over and just get in there and burnish. So you've got like a little rectangular piece at the base coming into a pyramid at the top. So they're now just folding in the tabs to a 90-degree angle. Like I said, it's already been pre-scored. So that's ready to be attached now to the house. But we've still to do one more tab. I wanted those mats to burnish down and for the glue to go off a little bit before I finally put pressure on by adding this final tab. So again, I'm just lining up top and bottom. We flip over and again just get inside there and burnish down. So now we're ready to add the top to the base, the roof to the base of the house. Put glue on all 4 tabs at the same time here because you're going to go tuck them inside of the house. So I'm just turning it and then I can add glue to the other 2 sides. And then you're going to place this, tuck it inside, and you'll find that once it goes in, everything will square up. So just tuck them in. Once you're happy, just press down, and then once you get them into position, just turn them onto the side and you can burnish all those lines down. There we go. Just get inside and just push those lines down. Oh, I think one of the sides just popped a bit then. There we go. Ready to burnish. And this makes it's quite substantial. It's quite strong is this once it's completed. Again, I've used 220 gram for the base, the linen cardstock, and the wood grain is 280 photographic. So it's quite sturdy when it's finished. So to complete this, like I said earlier, if you could add these before you complete the house, but it's easy enough to add them at this stage as well. So they're just little rainbow mirror portholes decorations. I love rainbow mirror. So there's the house part completed and ready now to add to our boat. And there's just the 2 tabs left. So it's a matter of tucking those in, lining them up to the top of the boat, and everything will be good to go. I'm adding both of them together. Like I said, you may find it easier at this point to add this before you add the stepper piece. It's up to you. It's a little bit tricky to get your fingers in once the stepper's in position. I hadn't thought about it when I did it because I did it the other way around first time, and then I thought, you really need to do that bit first. I mean, I got it together, but I think I'd have been able to burnish down easier. Put this in place and then put the stepper in place, because the stepper you can actually run your fingers along the top to burnish down. But there we have our little ark completed. That, like I said, that door will be on the left hand side of your boat. The video wouldn't, because it was quite a long video. After 3 hours I gave up trying to save it. I think I started and stopped about 5 times. Not that it makes any difference. So here are our little animals. We have the giraffe, we have the monkey, elephant, rhino, and the dove. So I'm going to talk you through these now. They're all done virtually the same way. That's the rhino. And I've used transfer tape for all the small pieces. There's the lion. So we're going to start off with the giraffe. So all the pieces for one animal are on one mat. And you'll see the 3 main pieces, 3 colours. So I'm just going to add glue to the first piece. This particular one, you can just pull it off the mat without any transfer tape. There's one or two you need the transfer tape on mat 1, this particular one, and a couple of others you won't. So it's just a matte layer just coming inside on the, just matching up. If you match up sort of the head and the antlers, this is the little nose. So if you just refer to the video for the pictures for the colours, I've used a couple of different tones of tan and brown, and I've used cream for the nose, and I've used I think white, blue and black for the ears. For the eyes, I should say, not the ears. So we've got all the pieces all sitting there. Now in the dark brown, you're going to glue everything together with the exception of one little piece, and I will show you in a minute because it's part of the eye. It's part of the eyelid. So at the minute I'm just adding glue to all the pieces, all the brown pieces on the transfer tape. And because I do this way and get them off on transfer tape, it holds them where it's been designed to be. You would never get these in the same place. Now, can you see that little arched shape piece there? That's the top part of the eyelid that hasn't got glue on. So we're just going to add all the spots. Again, I'll line up the antlers to start off, and then you'll be able to lay down along the edge and everything should clip into place. You may find that one or two of them may move a little bit because I usually have to encourage them off the mat onto the transfer tape, but I use a pokey tool. If they move a little bit, don't worry too much. They can always be realigned if you need to realign them. But if you take a little bit of time, I'm pulling them off with the pokey tool to keep them in position. The nose pieces there go inside. The little brown pieces go inside the nose spaces. So one of them there has just decided it doesn't want to go where it should do, so I'll deal with it in a minute. I'll get the rest of the pieces off. So just gently roll back the tape. The bigger pieces you'll find will probably come off easy. It's the little ones that tend to move. So just press those into position, and I'm just repositioning that nose piece now. There's a cut hole for that to slide into. So there's all his little spots and speckles in position. And poor little soul got no eye. So that's what we're going to start with next. Again, starting with the white. So that's the main part of his eye. That will go down just to the side of the spots on the left and above. So there we go. Now if you wanted to do two, if you mirror image before you cut, if you duplicate everything but mirror the other side, then you're going to get a mirrored image if you want them 2 by 2 in your ark. Now we're putting the blue piece into position, and this is going towards the bottom of the eye because there's quite a big eyelid to go on top here with the eyelashes. So if you just take a look where that's sitting, it's not at the top, it's not in the centre either, it's heading towards the bottom of the white part. Now we're adding the black, so this is the part of the eyelid and the eyelashes, and the black part, the pupil of his eye. And again, because it's on the transfer tape, as soon as you lay it down, it's going into the correct position. And then remember the little brown piece, the little curved piece that I said, we've still just to deal with that. So that's him. You could stop at that. You don't need to put the little brown piece in, but that little curved piece is going to go to the top of the black piece. So it's like the inner part of his eyelid coming down a bit. So there's our little giraffe completed. Just trying to show you the brown piece. It's just at the top. Can you see there where I'm using the pokey tool? I just think the faces are so cute. Next we're going to do the elephant. So again, there's the base colour and the grey, the light grey. I've used like a mottled white, a light grey, and then the shadow part in dark grey. This has got sort of his eye is already included on this particular one. There's just I think I forgot to use, oh, I know what I'm doing now. That's him. I forgot his tusks. So there are tusks to be added, but I also forgot the centre of the ear on the giraffe. So I'm just adding that. But there are tusks for the elephant, and I did forget, but you'll see them in the video. So that's the inside of his ear that I forgot. If you can see the elephant just to the right of screen now, there are white tusks coming down. Now we're doing the little monkey. So again, there's the base piece and the mat. And then the detailing. He's missing hands and feet, so he looks a bit strange, but they'll all be coming in on the next layer. So I've used like a dark tan, a mustardy colour and cream. The face on this, because it was so tiny, it wouldn't cut out, so I've actually put draw onto that. So you'll need to draw that piece before you start to cut. And there's a video on the website that shows you, if you're not sure how to do that, you need to change the cut to draw in your software for your cutting machine. If it's in Canvas, you'll need to go to the canvas and change the cut for the eyes and the nose and the mouth to draw before you send it to your machine. It's one of the things with no SVG software will convert a draw file. I don't know why, but it just doesn't do it. I've asked questions and nobody seems to be able to answer. So it's a simple process, but you've just got to remember to do it. So I'm just popping his feet into position, just slipped out a little bit, just as I was lining everything up there. So it's no biggie just to wiggle them into position. So there's his features, his hands and his feet. Now onto his eyes. So again, starting with the whites. And because I've transferred off onto the tape, I've got the correct distance apart. So you can put both pieces down at the same time and you're not guessing what width, what distance they're supposed to be apart, which is why I use the transfer tape. So there's his eyes. So that's the white. Now I've used like a brown colour for the next bit. And again, the transfer tape holds them where they need to be. If they slip, don't worry, you can always reposition before you push them down in, before you burnish them down. And the last little bit, tiny little black bits for his pupils. You can reuse this transfer tape several times. When I'm taking it off the mat when I've cut, I usually burnish it down with the spatula. And then if it needs encouragement, especially with the smaller pieces, I use the pokey tool to get it up, or the burnishing tool. So there's monkey completed. We're coming in now with rhino. On this particular piece, there's the base piece, but then the mat 1 and mat 2 have both got little pieces cut out. The mat 1 there, can you see there's a few pieces along his back that are loose? So I decided to take this off. Even though there's one big piece, I thought that if you took the whole thing off along with those 3 pieces, then again, it's guaranteeing that they're going where they need to be. So just care as you undo the transfer tape. This is the matte 2 detailing, the contrast coming in, and there's his eye in position. And again, we have part of an ear and his mouth. So there's a little bit of pink been used there for the mouth. You could either use pink or red, it's up to you. Oops, that one's come off. So again, just pop them back into position. And then once you're happy with them, you can burnish down. So there's his mouth and the inside of his ear. And we have the tusks. And there's an alignment there. You'll see there's already part of it there, but this just put glue on the widest tip at the base because these extend beyond the base of the rhino. It's the same with the elephant, which I forgot to put on. So there's Rhiny. Now we're coming in with our lion, and again I've put all the other pieces apart from the base onto transfer tape. So I could have used a dark brown for this mane, but I decided to go with a dark golden colour and a lighter golden colour and get it the right way up. So again, just gently peel back. And the face and the two sort of inner parts of the ears. So if you line the ears up, then the face will go into the position where it needs to be. Again, just the tiny pieces don't want to lift up, just gently encourage them with the pokey tool. So that's so far. Okay. Next we've got his legs. Now with this I changed my mind once I was putting it onto the boat. If you do the two outer parts and glue those fully down, and the two inner parts just glue at the top, then you can have the base parts hanging onto the outside of the boat. If you're with me, you'll see it in a little while. I've glued this all down and then changed my mind and lifted a bit off. So if you put, sort of just the top part attached and leave the base part loose. So it'll be just the two inner paws that will be loosed from the paw, just mainly the paw and just a little bit more. Now we're on to, I think I'm putting the tail bit on next, the end of the tail, which is the same colour as the mane. And that completely fills, it's not a matte. So much easier dealing with tiny pieces as well via the transfer tape. Trying to get hold of them with your fingers is rather tricky. But there we have. We've just got his face to do. So again, starting with the white part. Put his eyes into position. Just trying to decide what angle they need to be at there. And again, just gently peel the tape away. And we've got the coloured part of his eyes. these animals could be used on so many other projects for children as well. Think about them going into a pop-up box or onto the front on a wobbler card of some description. There we go. So we've done brown for the inside of his eyes there. And finish off with the black part with part whiskers. And I've only glued the inner part of this. The whiskers go to the base, I think. Couldn't decide which way the little pointy bit was supposed to be. So I haven't glued the whiskers. They're really, really fine. So I've just done the central part there. And just going in with, I think, the mouth now. Oh no, still the mouth to do. So I'm just aligning and just opening the whiskers. I said these really are very, very fine pieces, but there we have. So it's sort of the open part, the top part of his mouth is there now, ready to add, and this cheeky monkey's got his tongue sticking out. So a little bit of pink there for his tongue. And there's lion completed. You can also put a little bit of curved shape into these if you wanted to. Here's the dove. So it's like a skeleton mat on this one. So I've used white for the dove and I've used a silver grey for the skeleton mat piece. Tweezers needed for positioning this one. Get rid of the transfer tape, it's sticking all over me. There we go. And then there's the teeniest, weeniest olive branch you ever did see. So a couple of dots of glue on that's all that's needed, and that lives just by the beak at the front. You can see exactly what it is, but it's so tiny. So there's our little dove completed. Now I've only, like I said, I've only done one of these. I'd already pre-cut some, so I've got extras here because I obviously have to test cut everything that I do before I can do videos. So I'm just going to be adding them. I didn't mirror them, so I will hold my hand up. I've done them both the same way. I really needed to mirror, but I'm just playing about now. I've just put in the monkey on the back and sort of got one leg inside and one leg outside of the boat. Just play around until you're happy with where everything's sitting. In the meantime, I've got the hot glue gun heating up. It just needs a tiny little bit of glue adding to these just to hold them in position. So it's just once you're happy that you can see everything. It would have been better had I have mirrored, because then everything would have been looking out to sea, not looking in towards the boat on one side. What you can do if you want is to slot sort of half of the legs at one side of the stepper and half the legs at the other. You don't have to glue them on some of them, they will sit like that. So if you wanted to hand this out for the children to be able to play with the little animals, then you could probably just pop them into position and then they can pull them off and put them back again. I glued them on, but it's an option. Okay, so can you see I've just got one of the paws behind the stepper piece and not the other. So that's just sitting nicely into position, which is why I've done sort of the 3 height stepper, so that you can display them quite nicely. So it's just put these until you're happy with where everything's looking, and then you can add the hot glue to finish them all off. I'm going to add the dove to the tip of the roof, which I'll be doing in a minute. Just deciding where I want the animals to sit. And our dove, which is going to sit up at the top there. So once you're happy with your placement, a rough placement, you can come in with the hot glue gun. And I'm going to start with the dove at the top. I'm just putting a little dot of glue on the tail, so I can have it sitting as if it's landing on the roof. And it depends where you put in these, whether the glue goes onto the front or it goes onto the back of your animal. Like this particular one is going to be going on the front, so I'm adding that to the front of the boat and tucking it in. And then just continue. This is where I decided I wanted the lion's paws to stick out, so I'm just releasing the glue at the base. As I'm gluing it into position, it's fine. The glue hadn't gone off too far that I couldn't remove. So can you see, just so that you can have them sat over the edge of the boat there. Just going to lift them away and add glue to the underside. You could put some animals going up the ramp as well. Just glue them onto the ramp if you wanted. All I'm deciding here is to whether I want the glue on the front or on the back. It depends which part of the stepper you're adding them to. I think you can see the tusks there on that elephant. I did add them after, once I found them on the transfer tape. That's one side completed. So, little monkey. Like I said, I've got one leg hanging over the boat here, so it's just a little dab of glue on one of the feet. And because I haven't mirrored him, he's the opposite way round. And now we're just repeating on the other side. Just adding glue exactly as I've done first way. And there's our cute little Noah's Ark. Hope you enjoy it. I really enjoyed designing this one. Until the next time, bye for now.